So when I was 19, I was in college. I was living on campus. I met my baby daddy. My baby daddy was 35. I was 19. Well, he was a bit younger than that. He was like 29, 30. So I met him when I was 19. We was dealing with each other for a good little minute. Mind y'all, I'm Muslim, so I never looked at no signs. But me and him ended up messing around. I was a virgin then. So like when I turned 20, like around the time I turned 20, I lost my virginity to him. We start having smecks or whatever. And then eventually, like, I got pregnant in June. And then I had my baby the next year. So February of 2021, I had him. And I was turning 21. So, oh wait, let's backtrack. So when I was a few months pregnant, about 4 months pregnant, I ended up having like some health problems and I had to go to the hospital. Mind y'all, he knew I was pregnant. We planned this kid, y'all. This was not I was stupid for doing that. Damn, that's dumb. But we planned the kid. When I was 4 months, I ended up going to the hospital at like 3 o'clock in the morning. But we ain't lived together. It was two different households. I was on campus. He was at home. So I'm calling his phone, blowing up his phone. I finally get him to freaking call me back because I'm like, damn, it's like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And normally he answers, but mind you, he's also a radiologist, so he works in the hospital. I'm blowing up his phone. Somebody finally answered, but then when they answered the phone, it was a woman. And so I'm like, hello. She's like, hello, who is this? Like, she wasn't talking loud. She was like whispering. She was like, hello. I was like, hello. She was like, who is this? I said, this Kiara, who is this? She asked me, like, why was I calling her husband phone? And so I was like, yo, husband, like, I'm pregnant by him. And this nigga, he need to get to the hospital because I was having, like, life-threatening problems. Not, like, life-threatening, but, you know, issues with the pregnancy or whatever. So she's like, go off on a tangent, hang up the phone. Cause she's like, bitch, I know, like, you know, she's going off on me. Hang up the phone. Like an hour and a half passed by. Y'all, this lady deleted the call out of his phone. He calls me back because he like, I see I missed calls from you. I'm like, nigga, you married? Like, we get into a whole argument. Like, it was about to be World War III. He said, I'm going to try to get there as soon as in the morning. Mind y'all, it was like 2 o'clock when I arrived at the hospital and was calling him. It's 5 o'clock now.
Wait, so the wife? Hold on, wait. The wife deleted the phone call?
Yes, she deleted the phone call. And then he called me back and he's like, yeah, yo, I just seen your call. I seen I had a few missed calls from you. What's up? So when I finally tell him, like, I was like, I'm in the hospital. What the fuck going on with you? And like, you married, whatever? Because we got into a real bad. So he said he was going to come to the hospital when he got up. That's what started the argument. Oh, I'm going to be up there as soon as I get up. And then that's when I brought up the wife because I'm like, what the fuck you mean you going to get up here? Like, you need to get up here right now. But I guess your wife answered the phone. Nigga, you married? And we got into a whole fucking argument. Okay, he arrives at the hospital like a few hours. It was like a good little minute. It was hours later because it was the next day, like 9 o'clock in the morning. My dad finally got to the hospital and I was like going crazy. Like, this nigga married. Like, damn, how fucked up could my life be? And I was like, maybe he was just playing. So he gets to the hospital. My dad was about to lay hands on him. No, he was not a Muslim. My dad was about to lay hands on him, so they end up telling my dad he had to leave the hospital because my dad was like, how the fuck dare you do this to my daughter? And then, you know, my dad was mad at me. Okay, so we got past that day went past.
Person you're trying to read.
So after that day had went past or whatever, like the rest of like the time I was pregnant, I lived in
Your
fucking
call
hell.
has been
His wife had been like blowing up my phone, so I changed my phone
Wait,
number.
maybe this is not the one.
So his wife was
I can hear you.
his wife was blowing up my phone. Me and him had already got into it, but my dad told me that he was gonna handle it and just go through my pregnancy because I was gonna get an AB. Like, I was just gonna go and unalive the baby. But my dad was like, no, you 4.5 months pregnant. Like, you're not about to go and do this to my grandkid because of what he did. So yeah. So a few months passed by, mind you, we blocked them. I ignored the hell out of them. So after that last conversation with him, and I changed my phone number. My dad was like, "No, you ain't going through none of this. Like, I'm not about to let you do this. I'll deal with it or whatever." I had 1 month without talking to him. So in January, when I was getting ready to have my kid, they were going to induce my labor and just give me a C-section because my son was losing like oxygen or whatever. It was like a whole bunch of problems. So then when I went back to the GYN, she was like, we're going to try to do you a full-term pregnancy because I wanted to do a full-term. So my okay, in February, I was getting ready to have the baby. So now I call him up and I'm like, hey, like I'm about to have a kid. But mind you, now his wife know what he was doing. So she was in the background like, tell that bitch we gonna be at the hospital and we gonna motherfucking see we gonna get a DNA test. So I'm at this point like, now you ain't invited to have my child birth because if she come up here acting crazy and my parents up here, she gonna get her ass whooped. So I'm like, don't even come up here, stay the fuck away from me. So my son was born. Like he didn't come to the hospital for my baby being born. He wasn't invited anymore because his wife was in the background. So I finally reached out about 3 months later or whatever. I'm like, hey, I want to get a DNA test and make sure that this kid is your kid. And I also wanted to put your name on the birth certificate. So it was a whole bunch of drama fucking between that. So his wife ended up coming around. She ends up reaching out to me via Facebook and she was like, hey, this is Gabriel's wife. We want to get the DNA test done. We want to move forward or whatever. So I'm like, okay, cool. So we get the DNA test. The baby comes back his, of course. And so after that, our co-parenting was a bit fine up until my son was about 1. And then it was just like crazy. Like we went back down memory lane or whatever. Like she's mad because he got me pregnant. I didn't know that he was married. Literally, he never disclosed that he was married. Mind y'all, he was never at fucking home. He was always with me, or we was always out of town, out the country. We was everywhere. He was everywhere but motherfucking home. So yeah. So we went back down memory lane. Between then, when my son was 1, they wanted to take me to court for custody of my son. Mind you, I was still in college, like I was still living with my parents or whatever. So my dad was like, let him go ahead and take you to court. We're gonna handle the fees or whatever. We got you. Um, go ahead. So we went to court. And I end up keeping full custody because of the threat text messages that I was getting and like everything else that was surrounding the case. They had went ahead and just was like, you got full custody. He could do joint custody, but me not being the person that I was like, I requested that we had split custody. I requested for 60-40. I kept my son 60% of the time. He kept my son 40% of the time. And like ever since then, yeah, no, he was Haitian, but he is Haitian. So then after that happened, we end up now we have an amazing co-parenting relationship. Can't say nothing bad.
What about the wife? She's still the wife? They still married?
Yeah, they're still. Oh, I forgot to tell y'all. So his wife couldn't conceive. She could never have a baby. And so that's where all the hatred came from. So when my son turned 3, when my son turned 3.
Why you didn't write this to me so I could have did a side chick saga? Jesus,
I didn't know you did.
Well, write it still. I still want to do it. This would be a good saga. Oh my God.
So, and yes, I was Muslim, but y'all, I was
Oh
in
man, she
college
couldn't
and I
have
was
kids. That's why
wilding.
she hated you. After
Yeah,
that, you
like,
was
and still, well, now we
cool.
cool though. Now we cool though.
Oh, y'all are
Haitian
cool.
too?
Yeah, so now we, yes, now we